Like all reunions, these few days are going to be filled with laughter and some tears and memories and more than a few lies. And once again, you're going to go to bed at night asking yourself, how did I become friends with these people? In a normal life, I would have never even spoken to some of these people, much less become friends with them. Look at us. Look into this room. We're so different. We're different nationalities. We're different races. We speak different languages. We follow different religious faiths and political philosophies. We're straight, we're gay, we're liberal, we're conservative. Some are wealthy, some not so much. But even though we haven't seen each other in 5, 10, 30 years, what do we say? It's like time never passed. We connected just like we were on the road. We realize that we don't just like these people. These are not just my friends. This is my family. We are connected for life. What happens in Japan, or what happens in Israel, or what happens in Mexico, what happens in Denver, what happens in Tucson, is personal to us. Just like Paul once wrote, to paraphrase his song, what's happening to you is happening to me. That's a gift that very few people in the world have, and we've all got that. It's particularly a gift right now, I think, as so much of our society outside of this room couldn't be more different from that. Today, our world is more polarized, more disconnected, more fearful, and less civil than at any time since Up With People began in the 1960s. I was reminded of that a few weeks ago when I read a newspaper article entitled, "I'm Okay, You're Pure Evil." The point the writer was making is that it's no longer enough in much of our public discourse to just disagree on ideas or opinions. Today, if you and I disagree, you're the enemy. You're probably immoral, you're certainly unethical, and you're somehow deserving of being personally demeaned and insulted. We draw bright lines around those of us who we feel are like us, and we demonize those who aren't. In its ultimate form, this kind of dehumanizing thinking can lead some to justify the worst kind of abuse and violence, whether that's among the factions in Syria, on the streets of Paris, in the airport of Brussels, a nightclub in Orlando, a church in Charleston, a baseball field in Washington, D.C., or a shopping plaza right here in Tucson. Somehow, somewhere, our society, as a people, have to take a stand and say, stop. We're not separate islands. We're not enemies just because we have differences, even though some of those differences are very fundamental. I think that's why we're here. Because somewhere along the way, we were introduced to a group of young people who were willing to take a stand against violence and for tolerance, take a stand against injustice and for respecting others regardless of who they were. We saw this, and something in us said, that's who I am. That's what I want to do. And that's what we did on the streets of Watts, in the Olympic Village in Munich, when we went to China or the Soviet Union or Belfast, in schools divided by race, in nations divided by ideology. We refused to accept the barriers that others put on us, and we drew and we reached out our hand in friendship, and we took a chance on trust. And because we did that, we left a legacy wherever we went, wherever we traveled. Now, we didn't save the world, but every place we went in the world, we made things just a little bit better, a little bit more respectful, a little bit more understanding. Just a little, we nudged the world just a little bit further for peace. And if people are not nudging toward peace, they're nudging it away. And because we did that, we took a stand for inclusion and respect, because really there's no other choice. The world of tomorrow will not be built only with people who are like us, however we define us. It can only be built by finding common ground with those who are unlike us. That's what we learned in Up With People. And at the end of our experience, that's what we walked away with. In a very real way, we became global citizens. I don't mean we gave up the love of our own country or our own way of life or our own religion, but we realized that there are thousands of right ways to be human, right ways to live, to love, to worship. And that understanding has helped shape us and our worldview ever since. Here's the good news. This week, as we're meeting here, 100 very diverse young people from 14 nations are starting their Up With People staging in Denver to follow in your footsteps. This summer, teens from all over the world are coming to camp Up With People in Virginia and beginning to build those relationships as teenagers. And this summer, in 6 cities around this country, we're piloting a new program called Up With People Junior for children 8 to 12, using the music of Up With People to help building the idea of tolerance and respect and compassion for others in children. We anticipate these programs expanding throughout the world. Wouldn't it be great if we didn't have 6 Up With People junior camps, but we had 100 Up With People junior camps in countries all over the world? We could begin to reach out and expand and extend the reach of Up With People far beyond what any one cast traveling can do. So Up With People is well and growing and continuing your legacy. And we want you to know that, and we want you to know that Up With People is alive and well. This morning, we are going to honor 4 men who gave us all a gift. Through their words and their songs, we have a common language to express what we felt when we were traveling. But we might not have had the words ourselves. But they gave us the words to sing out that there's going to be another day, to reassure that with everything changing, somewhere there still remains love. To see a world without any borders or fighting or fear. To assert that our different roads can and will meet again. And yes, if more people were for people, all people, everywhere, there'd be a lot less people to worry about and a lot more people to care. The world has never needed those words more than it does today. It's never been more important for us to keep this program going and growing and being strong, and it's never been more important for all of us to continue to live out the ideals of Up With People in our communities like so many of us are doing today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being Up With People in your community and in your world, and thank you for continuing to support Up With People. Thank you.